Hello, movie lovers. Welcome to the MTE Movie Podcast. This is episode number 10, and I'm Jacob Bartley. I'd like to welcome you all to our 10th episode. And I'm here with my co-founder of Movie Talk Express, Gio Ramos. How you doing today, man?
Good. Hope y'all are doing well. How you doing, Jacob?
I am recovering from this weekend, still.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, it was both of our birthdays. Jacob turned 24 on the 24th, Friday, and I turned 25 yesterday, so...
Yeah, so it's been a long weekend. We're pretty exhausted, but we're still here to fulfill our duty of our weekly podcast. Couldn't miss it. So,
we just love talking about movies, yeah.
Of course, yeah. So today we're going to talk about the box office as usual, the box office results regarding Ant-Man and Pixels, Minions, Trainwreck, Paper Towns, etc. And then we're going to go talk about Trainwreck a little bit, just give our quick thoughts, talk about Amy Schumer's career and where we think it's headed, and talk a little bit about Judd Apatow's legacy as a director so far. And then after that, we're going to talk about Pixels, because we saw both of these movies in the past week. And just like Trainwreck, for Pixels, we're going to give our initial thoughts and then kind of talk about Adam Sandler's career and how that's kind of came downhill as of late.
It's going downhill.
So, and then we'll do our regular open mic segment to close it out. So without anything further, let's jump right into the box office. So it was kind of an evenly spread box office this past weekend. And gladly for me, a film I'm rooting for is Ant-Man took the number one spot. Barely, though. It made $24 million. Pixels made about the same, $24 million, a little under. Minions made $22 million. Trainwreck made $17 million. Paper Towns made $12 million. Inside Out made $7 million. And Jurassic World $6 million. I don't remember the last time I saw so many movies make so much money at the same time. You know, that's pretty high. Usually there's like three or four, maybe five movies that make more than $5 million, but there's a lot right here.
Yeah, it was a good weekend for the box office.
In general,
everything was in the 20s or 15 range, so pretty evenly spread out, like you said. So let's just talk about it real quick. Ant-Man, I'm glad to see it at number one. Hey, it has legs, right? It's still,
little ant legs.
Yep. It we were talking about it, I think, last week or the week before about, not panicking that Ant-Man made around...
only made $58 million last week.
$58 million, but it has the legs,
Mm-hmm.
so it's going to keep going, hopefully.
It dropped only a little less than 50%,
mm-hmm.
so that's pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the one I'm a little shaking my head about is Pixels. Pixels only made $24 million. This needed to be a hit, especially for Adam Sandler, who, his films have done good at the box office.
That's
never been the problem. The problem has been critically has his films been good, and we'll get into that later. But I'm looking at the production budget on Pixels, $88 million, and it only made 24 on its opening weekend.
Yeah, it's never going to make more than that.
I'm calling it right now. That's going to be a flop.
Yeah, I think so too. And especially it's not getting great reviews, so that's going to play into it as well. If people heard it was good, and they'd go see it.
Right. And what else stands out? Trainwreck, $17 million. That's pretty solid. And what's that in this? It's a second week, right? Second week?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good, actually, for that movie. I think that same with Ant-Man and Trainwreck, they're getting a lot of word of mouth. That's what's happening. And then Minions is it's Minions, dude. Everybody still wants to see it. People are going to go out to see it no matter what.
Yeah, so all in all, pretty even box office, strong weekend overall. There wasn't one film that outperformed the other. And we'll see what happens next weekend. What comes out? We have Mission Impossible.
Vacation this Wednesday, and then Mission Impossible on Friday, which I'm looking forward to both of those movies very much.
I'm going to say Mission Impossible takes the number one just because it's Tom Cruise. People love Ghost Protocol. So this is the follow-up film, and so far the trailers, it's looked pretty good, you know. And Vacation, I think it'll do well, but I think it might have a chance in the top 3. I think Ant-Man's gonna take the number 2 spot.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mission Impossible will definitely take the number 1 spot, but not by much. I think Ant-Man will be number 2, and I don't even know if Vacation gets the number 3 spot. I wouldn't be surprised if Minions takes it, or Trainwreck, or maybe Paper Towns. I'm surprised Paper Towns didn't make more money, because I remember maybe it was either last year or the year before when The Fault in Our Stars came out. It made like 36 million opening weekend or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was expecting some numbers like that, you know?
Yeah.
I was a little surprised by that. But
it could have been the marketing.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And I don't think the actors in the movie have the star power that Shailene Woodley has also. Right. She was already had done Divergent, right?
I think so.
By that time,
and the opening weekend for that movie was actually 48 million.
Oh, you just looked. Yeah, that's what I was. Wow, that's what I was just gonna check, dude. That's amazing. See, so are people not interested in these movies anymore, or is it just there's too much at the box office this week?
I think the young adult genre is getting a little bit oversaturated. Honestly,
really?
I think so.
Wow.
I mean, maybe that's just me. I
don't know. Like I haven't watched most of them that have came out lately, but so maybe I don't feel that fatigue. But
right.
Maybe with the general movie-going audience.
Yeah, could be. So yeah, those are our predictions for next weekend. What do you think Mission Impossible will pull in?
I don't. I'm 40 million. Yeah.
Okay.
I think Ant-Man will do like 15, and then Trainwreck will probably do like 12, and I think Vacation will do like 12 also. I don't think a lot of people are hyped up about Vacation. I think it looks great. I can't wait to see it, but I don't feel like other people, general movie-going audiences, are feeling the same way. And it's rated R, so even though that might be better for the movie, it's going to hurt the box office return.
Yeah,
so
we'll see.
What do you think Mission Impossible makes this weekend?
I'm calling 58 million.
Wow, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's so much at the box office right now.
Right.
There's like 8 good movies, not 8 good movies, but 8 movies that people like want to see, you know? So at least
only one Tom Cruise.
Yeah, that's true. No, I'm looking forward to Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Ghost Protocol.
We'll see,
or,
you know?
No.
I mean,
Rogue Nation.
Rogue Nation.
Duh.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. Well, there's our box office discussion. Now, I want to talk about Trainwreck. We just saw it last week?
Yes.
Last Tuesday?
Yes.
So like 6 days ago. And we saw it a little late, actually. And I actually really enjoyed this movie, man. I was surprised. Here's the thing. I've said a lot of times before, Judd Apatow, even like he's directed 2 of my favorite comedies of all time in 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up, and really like he has such a presence in the comedy world of film, and so I had high hopes for him, but still his last couple movies have not done it. This is 40 and Funny People, and I felt a little bit of those movies in Trainwreck, but overall Trainwreck did not disappoint. I think it's fantastic. It's such a charming little movie. Like the two leads, Amy Schumer and Bill Hader, were so incredible to watch on screen individually and together. Like
yeah, the chemistry, yeah.
And I think my favorite part in the movie, actually, warning, we might get into a little bit of spoilers with this. So, I mean, there's not much to ruin with Trainwreck other than a few plot points, but this isn't really going to give anything away. But warning, if you want to know nothing about Trainwreck or Pixels, you might not want to listen to these movie discussions. So for now, warning, there might be some spoilers, but the moment when they go out to dinner together, Bill Hader and Amy Schumer, for the first time, and they get in the cab, and he's like, 2 stops, and then she's like, no, just 1 stop, what's your address? And the look on Bill Hader's face was freaking hilarious. Because you remember that?
Yeah.
And she's just sitting there like smiling, and he's just like, like with his eyes wide open,
He
like
doesn't know what to do.
holy shoot, I'm gonna go get laid right now. Like
Yeah.
it was such a great moment, and those type of moments are what make the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was hilarious. It felt, even though the plot is something we've seen many times before with romantic comedies, the way they executed it, the dialogue, all the jokes, just felt refreshing, dude. I'm excited because this movie made me a huge fan of Amy Schumer, which I didn't know much about prior, and I didn't necessarily like her stuff from what I had seen before this. But dude, she's hilarious. I'm excited for anything she does now. So, how did you like Trainwreck? Obviously, there were a few flaws. We'll get into that after this, but I just want to hear your initial thoughts on Trainwreck. What did you like? Did you like it?
So I went into Trainwreck not really that excited. I was just like, yeah, okay, Bill Hader, Judd Apatow, LeBron James. Okay, let's see what this is about. And then Amy Schumer just completely like surprised me. Her performance, her comedic chops, her acting, all that kind of stuff. This girl got it. I mean, I didn't know who she was prior to this film, but she really surprised me with what she's able to do. I thought Trainwreck was a pretty good comedy. Probably the best this year, I want to say, maybe. Judd Apatow, he kind of redeemed himself a little bit with this film. I thought he did a good job. LeBron James, as much as I hate to say it, he gave a pretty good performance. Granted, he kind of played himself.
Why do you hate to say it, man? Don't you love LeBron?
Well,
Nah, Gio's a Celtics fan. He does not. LeBron's one of his arch.
I got a lot I want to say, but that's for a different podcast.
Yeah, it's not a sports podcast.
Right. But yeah, I like Trainwreck. I thought Bill Hader was pretty hilarious. He's not normally a lead man. He's usually the
I mean, lately he's been
supporting cast.
He's been coming up lately. He was in the Skeleton Twins with what's her name? The girl from Bridesmaids. Kristen Wiig. And I haven't seen it, but I heard he's really good in that. So I actually want to watch that movie. And that was a co-lead. So
yeah, and what else? John Cena. Man, like great. I went into this film curious about LeBron James and see if because all the hype and buzz was around his performance, but John Cena, he stole it for me.
Yeah, like, definitely. I wish he was in it more though. Yeah. That's the only problem.
Yeah, he plays one of Amy Schumer's boyfriends. The temporary ones, I guess.
Man, that movie is so funny.
Yeah, but I thought he was a surprise performer of the film. But all in all, I think it was very funny. It put Amy Schumer on the map for me, and it kind of, like I said before, it kind of redeemed Judd Apatow. As far as a director, this one kind of felt like he got back into that comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah,
was
definitely.
Given something that he can work with, and an actress in Amy Schumer who can, the two of them can work together, and give us something, funny and, very entertaining. So that's my.
So you liked it?
Yes.
I liked it too. I think it is the best comedy of the year. I mean, straight up romantic comedy. I mean, Ant-Man might have been funnier.
Mm-hmm.
Kingsman was pretty damn funny. But yeah, as far as straight up comedies go, even though Trainwreck is technically a romantic comedy, it's probably the best of the year. If we're talking about other good comedies that I liked this year, Entourage, Pitch Perfect 2, Spy, even The Wedding Ringer. Those are some of the better comedies this year, in my opinion, and Trainwreck is hands down the best.
Yeah.
There's been some pretty bad ones too, like Ted 2 and Get Hard, and another one we're going to talk about in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, overall we liked Trainwreck.
Yes.
But it wasn't a perfect movie. There were some flaws.
No.
For me, I'm actually working on my written review right now, and I'm starting to come across the flaws, and I don't know. Like I mentioned earlier about Judd Apatow movies, they tend to drag out for too long. They tend to when it's a comedy, they try to get too dramatic and get too emotional sometimes. So I felt a little bit of that definitely in the third act. It was dragging out and got really emotional with some certain plot points that happened, and I thought that was a weakness in the film. Yeah, but other than that, really, I didn't mind anything other than that little. I felt it was too long, even though I think it was under 2 hours, but it just felt too long because very slow pacing at certain points. The pacing was a little off. It's another negative for me. But what about you, Gio? Did you notice those same flaws? You notice any other flaws?
Yeah, I agree with everything that you said. I would have liked for the film to be a little bit shorter than what it was. Definitely dragged on. And, well, since we're talking about spoilers, right?
Yeah, sure.
When her father dies, it just got so dramatic and dark, sort of, like,
Yeah.
like, man, Jesus, I'm supposed to be laughing and romance and everything. And then from there, I kind of predicted how the film would go. She kind of flips out and everything and has this emotional breakdown. He can't do nothing about it. He tries to. It ends up, biting him in, the behind and all that. And then they get back together. Another positive I will say, though, is that end sequence.
Oh, that made the movie,
with
dude.
The cheerleaders. Like,
That
how funny was that?
end sequence, man, I was blown away. That took the movie to another level. Like, it was pretty good up until that point, but that last 5 minutes of that movie elevated it like a whole nother score level for me. If I were to rate the movie,
Right.
like
But,
that was amazing.
Yeah, and all in all, I mean, still very entertaining, very funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hats off to Apatow and the crew.
Yeah, and it's a lot of credit to Amy Schumer. She wrote the film.
Yes.
She probably wanted Apatow to direct it. This is his type of movie. And so, what do you see for her future in Hollywood? Like, do you think she's the new it girl in comedy? Like, is she gonna be kind of like a female Seth Rogen in the comedy world of movies?
Yes. She definitely made a name for herself. There's gonna be studios now who
Oh
wanna
yeah.
work with her. They'll even go as far as maybe letting her write her own material.
Giving her like all she needs is $30 million to make a good comedy,
or make like a kind of like rewrites kind of of an existing script. I could see her doing that. And I'm already gonna call her. She's gonna outshine who is the females that Melissa McCarthy, who I haven't seen in Spy. But I think Amy Schumer is gonna be bigger than her. And
yeah, I definitely think so.
who's the other one? God, there's Melissa McCarthy, and then there's another one. I think you always get them confused.
Rebel Wilson
Yes.
from the Pitch Perfect movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
She's not as big, but yeah, I know what you mean.
I think Amy
Yeah.
Schumer is gonna be bigger than both of them.
And I like her way better than both of them, dude. Amy Schumer, like she even jokes about it. She's not traditionally like the traditional beautiful girl, but just her charisma and her personality like makes her attractive. She's so funny, and she's like, her mannerisms are like very cute. I don't know. She's amazing. I'm very much looking forward to her, and I do think she's gonna have a successful career.
Right.
I would love to see another Apatow movie with her and Seth Rogen, maybe.
Oh.
As like brother and sister or something like that.
It's,
That would be awesome.
it could very well happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see like a Judd Apatow like team up movie. Have Franco, Rogen, Paul Rudd, and Amy Schumer all in the movie together.
That would be pretty awesome.
That'd be some awesome stuff, but that's just wishful thinking. So yeah, so as far as Judd Apatow goes, this is his 5th directorial. He's directed The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, Funny People, This Is 40, and now Trainwreck.
Yes.
I would say after Trainwreck, he's 3 for 5. As far as good movies, bad movies.
It's not a bad record.
Yeah, not at all, and
very-
especially the quality of his good movies. Like 40-Year-Old Virgin is fantastic film. It's a great movie, hands down. Not even just comedy. It's a great movie. Knocked Up, which a lot of people aren't so high on, but I am. I love Knocked Up. I So of course, my first introduction to Seth Rogen was 40-Year-Old Virgin, and I eventually went back and watched Freaks and Geeks. So
Yeah.
but I saw 40-Year-Old Virgin first, and then Knocked Up is what like took Seth Rogen up to like one of my favorite comedic actors. So I love both of those comedies, two of my favorite of all time. But then Funny People is kind of I would say it's maybe a guilty pleasure for me because there are things in that movie that I really enjoy. I think it's really funny, but This Is 40 was horrible, absolutely horrible. So there are a lot of redeemable things in Funny People, and I would say Trainwreck might even be better than Knocked Up, honestly. It's hard, but so if I were to rank his movies, I'll go 40-Year-Old Virgin. Damn. For now, I'm gonna go Knocked Up, Trainwreck, Funny People, This Is 40. So what do you think about now with Trainwreck on his resume? What do you think about his career so far as a director? He's produced hundreds of movies or thousands of movies, it seems like, but just as a director.
As a director, he's beginning to find his footing again, like I said. I didn't watch This Is 40. I don't know. It didn't look that good.
It didn't even feel or look like a real movie. It kind of felt like a spoof of that couple from Knocked Up, you know?
Right, yeah. Which, I mean, they weren't the most interesting part of that movie,
They were funny as a side little story going on in Knocked Up.
Yeah, I thought it was
a whole movie of
yeah.
her as the nagging wife.
Yeah.
Even though I love her.
Yeah, what's her name?
It's Judd Apatow's wife.
What's her name?
Wow. How are we blanking on this, dude?
Because obviously she's not that.
No, we know her name. What the heck? I feel so dumb right now. It's his freaking wife.
But, okay, while he's looking that up, I'm going to say he's 4 for 5 because I'm going to give him a... I kind of liked Funny People. I mean, it's not as funny as it could have been, but it's still... I still find some...
Sorry to interrupt you, but it's Leslie Mann. How do we not know that? I'm sorry, guys. I feel so bad right now for not getting that. That's... All right. Continue.
But anyways, I'm going to say he's 4 for 5. That's a better record than
wow
in the finals. But
that's what's up, dude.
Yeah, and we'll see what he does. He certainly has the critics' attention now for showing that he can do a good film again.
Yeah, dude.
He still has it.
Yeah.
Basically put it. Yeah. So that's how I feel about it. And we'll see. He's obviously one of your favorite directors. You're happy that this was.
Oh yeah, because this.
Yeah.
If he didn't direct this movie well, then people would be. He'd kind of become an afterthought. Like. He got bashed for This Is 40. I don't know if another critical failure would have been good for his career.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of critical failures, let's talk about Pixels. This movie, man. Now we're talking about two comedies today, pretty much, and a romantic comedy and an action comedy, and we feel very different about the two films.
On opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, meaning we really liked one of these films, we really did not like one of them, and the one we did not like is Pixels. It just proves again that Adam Sandler is not... He doesn't care about the quality of the work. I mean, it's not all his movie. It's not his movie, but he's a big part in putting this whole movie together, and he's probably working side by side with Chris Columbus putting this movie together. So his fingerprints are all over it, and he doesn't care to give it enough effort to make it believable on screen. Like, he just looks like he doesn't want to be there the whole time. I'm really disappointed, and I don't want to talk crap about Adam Sandler. I'm not going out of my way to do that. I love Adam Sandler. He's definitely in my top 3 comedic actors of all time. There's no question. I grew up on Adam Sandler comedies. So I love Adam Sandler. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to deny that he just doesn't care anymore. And I could see it in his eyes when he's on screen, and it's something that really bothers me. So, regardless of that, the movie Pixels is just, it's not well done. It's not clever. It has those slapstick comedy jokes that just don't work anymore. There were some redeemable qualities. We'll get into that a little bit. But what do you just think about the movie in general, Gio?
Well, this is very much an Adam Sandler movie. You see a lot of Adam Sandler. A lot of lines go to Adam Sandler.
Oh, yeah.
And Adam Sandler, I'm sorry to say this, but I think I give up on him as a comedic actor.
Wow.
You know, I was really looking forward to this film. I talked about it for the longest time, ever since it was first announced. When I first heard that they were giving the green light to the Pixels based off the short
Yeah,
film
I gotta say, the
by Patrick
concept
Jean.
is incredible.
Yes. And like I wrote in my review, Pixels falls short of reaching its potential. This film had so much potential. It had that nausea...
Nostalgia.
Sorry, guys. I'm like out of it right now.
Yeah, we are exhausted from this
Yeah.
past weekend.
Yeah,
so excuse our
Yeah.
mess
I mean,
ups.
don't get me wrong. I kind of felt a sense of nausea, watching how
Yeah.
terrible some of these
that works too.
scenes were.
Nausea and nostalgia.
Yes. So, anyways, it's ultimately just another Sandler film. Everything that you would expect in a Sandler film, like
from his recent movies.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's now turned into a majority of his movies.
Oh yeah. When's the last time he had a good movie? I can't even remember. Because
boy,
he had Blended, which was horrible. Even though Just Go With It, I did enjoy parts of that movie, but overall it's a horrible movie. The grown-up movies are horrible. The Jack and Jill, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was bad. I mean, going back to Apatow's Funny People.
Funny People might have been his last decent effort, huh?
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a poorly made movie. I gave props to director Chris Columbus, who I really like, for trying to do what he could for this movie. There were a couple of good performances, but overall, it's not a movie worth watching in theaters. Honestly, sad to say. And I hate to bash on a movie, but when it deserves it, it deserves it. And this one very much deserves it.
Yeah, bro. How many times did we look over at each other, like, giving each other the face, like, this is horrible?
Oh, since this is kind of a spoilers, right almost in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
There's a little kind of a scene that shows like
what, the flashback scene? Yeah, when they were kids,
and that was all right for what it was.
It's like every Adam Sandler movie lately starts with a flashback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you see Adam Sandler growing up, and they're like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah.
So I mean, obviously we didn't like it. It was horrible, but there were some redeeming qualities in there. Yes. There really were. So why don't you give some of the things that you liked in this movie?
And so as funny as it is to say this, his partner in crime, Kevin James, was actually one of the highlights in the
He's
film.
always good though. He gives, and that's a good thing. I'm saying, like, he actually gives effort. You could see it.
I mean, I don't know about Paul Blart, but I mean, in this movie, yes, he plays the president, and his jokes and his little comedic one-liners, they actually worked in this film. Like, you would going in, him and Sandler were the two people I was worried about, but I thought Kevin James did a good job in this movie. I thought Peter Dinklage was Peter Dinklage, as in he was entertaining when on screen. He was funny. Now they gave him a shit poorly written character.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
I mean, he did what he was.
But he gets an A for effort.
Yeah,
He really does.
Yeah, and Josh Gad.
Oh man,
Josh Gad was pretty funny. That guy's on a hot streak, man.
Dude, he's slowly becoming one of my favorite comedic actors, dude. Mm-hmm. Especially after Wedding Ringer.
Yeah.
And this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, just a couple performances I thought were good. Qbert was pretty
the
cute
little
and funny.
Yeah.
Little video game character. He just kind of jumps in through the middle of the movie and joins the crew.
He kind of stole the rest of the movie once he becomes a important part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then only other thing worth mentioning is that some of the visual effects for the video games, they were pretty good to look at, but it was nothing groundbreaking.
Yeah, I mean,
in that sense.
Some of the sequences I did like when they were actually playing, like fighting the games and in real life. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
When they were fighting the centipede, that was pretty cool. But but they totally failed on reaching the potential of the creativity they could have used with this concept. They could have done so much, and it just felt really lazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and
I don't know, dude. It's just
one person we have to mention, Michelle Monaghan. Poor Michelle Monaghan for her character. Wow, what a waste.
They gave her a horrible, even though she's good.
She is a very good actress.
Yeah,
but
she is.
She was just given a
horrible character.
Horrible character, guys. Like, really. Like, I don't mean, if you're excited for this movie, please go watch it. But my only recommendation is to temper your expectations.
Just be prepared
please.
For a lot of cheesy stuff. If you just want to turn off your brain and go enjoy this movie for the visuals and the slapstick comedy, then some people like that, so you might enjoy it. This is just our opinions. I can't tolerate laziness when it comes to filmmaking. I don't tolerate not giving a shit while you're acting, and like just you can see it right on your face that don't care, which I'm talking about Adam Sandler.
Mm-hmm.
But the highlight of this movie for me is Josh Gad. I thought he was incredible, and I've been listening to a few reviews online, and nobody's really mentioning him, and I'm surprised because I thought he was great. He was a little over the top, but that was the point. It was supposed to be like that. Because he played a very different character than what he plays in Wedding Ringer, I think.
Right.
In this movie, he's like a total nerd, like straight up geek. In Wedding Ringer, he's just like a nice guy. He's not a creep,
clearly
nerdo like in this movie.
Clearly, Kevin Hart rubbed off on him.
I think so.
In this movie, he's yelling, he's talking loud, he's being over dramatic at times, and I was like, wow, that totally reminded me of Kevin Hart. So
yeah, if I had to choose one enjoyable thing out of this movie, it's definitely Josh Gad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so do you think Adam Sandler has a chance to redeem himself, or are you, like you said earlier, are you totally done with him? You giving up?
I'm done with him. I mean, he has a movie coming out called The Ridiculous Six, which has been getting a lot of controversy on set because of something about Native Americans not being treated right or portrayed right on set.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a Western comedy. It has a pretty interesting cast. You got David Spade, Danny Trejo, Nick Nolte, Steve Buscemi, Rob Schneider. But I'm just like, once I see Adam Sandler, and it's
not going to be able to take it seriously.
I mean,
well, a lot of people say that he should focus on drama more.
I agree. Yes.
Yeah, I would love to see him. I don't even want to see him necessarily lead a movie yet. Like, I just want to see him like knock it out of the park in a supporting role or something. Do a supporting dramatic role, get some Oscar buzz, even if it's just talk about a nomination, get people to start taking you seriously and go down that route. Obviously, the comedy's not working for you.
Yeah, he's no longer the comedic lead that he
Oh,
once
no,
was.
not at all.
And that's been evident for a couple films now. But as far as dramatic goes, yes, I definitely want to see him do some, get into some drama films, because, I mean, if one thing that's, history has taught us is that, the comedic actors, they're really good at giving dramatic performances. You look at Jim Carrey,
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams, Steve Carell, even.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Recently, yeah. So I mean, as far as comedy goes, I can't look forward to Sandler anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you there, man.
It sucks. It does. I mean, but Pixels was the one film ever since last year that I was, kind of hyping up. I was like, okay, I like this concept. I want to see what Sandler can do with this. Not a good.
Yeah, you were really looking forward to this movie.
Yeah, I was.
You really were.
Yeah,
so
I wrote about it a lot. You guys
that's very disappointing.
Yep.
All right, well, I think we're done bashing on Pixels. We can do a 2-hour podcast talking about how horrible this movie is. But let's move on to our open mic segment where Gio and I each present a question or an issue involved in the movie world, and we kind of don't really know what each other's subjects are, so we kind of get caught by surprise. It's kind of cool, just open mic freestyle type. So why don't we start with your subject, Gio? What do you got today for the open mic?
Okay, so about a week or two ago, I was watching John Campea from Collider Movie Talk, and he was ranting a little bit about how these blockbuster films have such high production costs, and when you watch the film and then you give it some thought, you're like, where did that money go? Why did it need to be that, expensive of a shoot? And he ranted on about it for a couple minutes, and then he gave me the idea to go look at production budgets for, like blockbusters in recent years. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the most expensive production budgets in the blockbuster history, and I'm going to name off some films and give the production costs for that film. And I just want your comments, and like if you could see that film being as expensive as it costs, or could they have done it cheaper?
For cheaper, yeah.
Yeah. Or
no, I got you.
So I'm going to name some films off, and we'll just go from there. We're going to kind of wing it a little bit. All right, the first film is Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, the third film, which was supposed to close off the trilogy, but because it made like $1 billion, they decided to keep going.
Yeah. They already made a fourth one, right?
Yeah.
And they're making a fifth one right now.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So
okay.
Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End cost $340 million.
Wow.
To make. Now
that's insane.
It's
man.
probably been a while since you've seen that film, right? I mean, what do you think? Did it need to be that high, like $300 million?
No movie ever needs to be that high. That's ridiculous. I don't understand where this money goes. Yes, there's a lot of big stuff going on in this movie that requires a lot of money, but you could do it for a third of that, man. Come on.
Yeah.
And the movie wasn't even good. Like, it's... If you put the money in the right places that contribute to making the movie better, then that's where the money becomes worth it. But
like the script and the story.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah,
I don't know. I see where they spend the money on the special effects and the huge set pieces and everything, So, and probably Johnny Depp's salary too. That's probably like $60 million of it. Who knows?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't like that movie cost that much to make.
Now, can you see Titanic, which was
I actually that's one of those where
$295 million
at the time we weren't as technologically advanced as far as special effects and everything goes, so I think it was necessary to make that grand scale of a movie. But even though they still could have probably made it for cheaper, that's the one where you see it like, yeah, that makes sense. I think
you look at that film and it's visually beautiful,
and it holds up today still, dude. I've never seen it in theaters. If they do like a re-release in theaters again on an anniversary
They
or
probably
something,
will, yeah.
I need to watch it on the big screen.
Uh-huh.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So that film I could see, because it's just visually beautiful. Whereas to like Pirates of the Caribbean, there's like just a lot going on in the film.
Yeah.
You got, so on and so forth. And one more, just for the sake of it, Waterworld. $270
Wow.
million for Waterworld. How insane is that?
This is like the ultimate overspending and flop. I think it failed at the box office too.
Yeah, it did. But I mean, it's water. Like, I mean,
Well, it's so expensive to make because that's why studios have shied away from making like an Atlantis movie or even an Aquaman movie or a Little Mermaid movie because it's so expensive to create an underwater world.
right.
I think it's really expensive. So yeah, they effed up on that one, man. They spent way too much money on that, and I heard it's a horrible movie. I mean, I haven't watched it as an adult, so
Yeah.
I don't really remember it that well.
So I'm looking at the top 35 movies online, and you have all three of Sam Raimi's Spider-Mans on here. You have
What for production budgets?
production costs.
Wow.
There's there's two Transformers films. There's just they're blockbusters, so there's a lot of comic book films and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, I don't see why a lot of these films have to be at such high production, budget.
Yeah, dude, it's definitely an ongoing problem in Hollywood. It really is. You can make a good movie with a smaller budget. Like, you can. Like, look at earlier this year, Ex Machina. Like, I don't know what the production budget was on that. I'm sure it was around 30 million or something like that. Mm-hmm. And they had special effects in there, and you didn't have. That's a great movie.
Yes.
It's one of the best movies of the year, and that movie did not cost more than $50 million. I guarantee it.
A production budget of 15 million.
Oh yeah, see, that's.
But I mean,
I know there's not a lot of There's not a lot of big action scenes or anything like that.
It's also a different kind of film.
It's a different kind of movie, but I'm just giving you an example that you don't need a lot of money to make a good movie.
Right.
You can. Like, look at Deadpool has like an $18 million budget or something like that, or $20 million budget. And that's going to have a lot of action scenes and stuff. So I think people are getting the right idea with it. Maybe Deadpool will start a renaissance of, at least in the comic book movie genre, or comic book genre, trying to limit these budgets and save money and make more quality films rather than films that require a whole bunch of money for the special effects. And
what surprised me real quick was Mad Max Fury Road had a production budget of 150 million.
Oh yeah, that's insane.
But then when I think about it, all the practical effects, all those cars, and
yeah, I guess you could see where that money went.
That's probably a lot of money. That was just my opinion. That was my open mic subject. If you guys have any films in mind that had ridiculous production cost budgets or anything like that, please let us know in the comments.
Yeah, and what do you think about this? Do you think Hollywood is spending way too much money on these production budgets, or do you think it's necessary for them to spend this much money? Let us know.
Right.
All right, moving into my open mic subject. There wasn't really anything this week that caught my eye, but I just noticed this little interesting thing I read on Screen Rant. So apparently, Game of Thrones author J.R.R. Martin, I believe. George R.R. Martin came out and said in an interview that he's tired of the villains in comic book movies, their powers mimicking the hero, and the villain having the same powers as the hero. And he says it's boring because it takes away from the action. Rather than having two separate characters with different powers fighting each other and seeing all these powers displayed, you're just seeing the same thing. So some of the this is the quote he said.
I could come up with. Go ahead.
He said, "I'm tired of this Marvel movie trope where the bad guy has the same powers as the hero. The Hulk fought Abomination, who is just a bad Hulk. Spider-Man fights Venom, who's just a bad Spider-Man. Iron Man fights Ironmonger, a bad Iron Man. Yawn. I want more films where the hero and the villain have widely different powers. That makes the action much more interesting. I totally agree with that. And I didn't ever really thought about this before. So what do you think of this?
He's spot on right. I mean, if you think about it, just think about powers and, the hero villains. You have Ant-Man, Yellow Jacket.
Yeah.
Captain America, the Winter Soldier. You have...
It's all similar powers.
You have Thor, Loki.
Yeah. They're both gods.
You got Iron Man and, what do you say, Ironmonger? Or Jeff Bridges open ass thing.
Exactly.
And then you have Iron Man against... Whiplash. And Iron Man 2. Same technology, right?
Oh, I guess, yeah. Comes from the same...
at the end, he was a big robot,
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
No, you're right, yeah.
And then Hulk and Abomination. Although, I mean, when it comes to the Hulk, you kind of want to see him,
Well, you need somebody who can...
go toe-to-toe with someone that, can give a Hulk a fight, And for a while, the Abomination gave the Hulk a fight. Until the Hulk decided to stop playing around and use some of his powers, the ones that we all love to see. But yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, we're gonna kind of get a little bit of that with Civil War. I mean, Iron Man won't necessarily be fight. They might square off for a bit, but they won't necessarily be hero villain.
Yeah. No, I mean. Dude, I totally agree with his statements. Like I said, I never really thought about this before, but it is kind of annoying. It's again, it goes back to laziness in a way. I think it's like, oh, let's make the villain mirror the superhero. So it's kind of like a metaphor, like you're fighting yourself in a way. So it's kind of. I don't know, dude. I don't mind it though. Sometimes it's done right. Like I didn't mind Abomination and Hulk. I think. For the first movie, that's cool,
Yeah.
Somebody has to fight the Hulk.
Yeah.
Who else can fight the Hulk?
Uh-huh.
Nobody, really.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
And, I mean, even to a certain extent, Age of Ultron. You had Ultron and Vision, sort of.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
And then even, like,
Ultron
even
and
Iron Man and Ultron are, like, the same thing, essentially, as far as their powers. Just, Ultron is just a super high-tech Iron Man suit. That's all he is.
Right.
So... Yeah, man. It was just something interesting. When I read that, I was really interested in it. And I was curious of what you thought. So.
Oh no, this he is spot on.
Yeah. Hopefully, we see a change in this for sure.
And it sucks because I know you like a lot of the Marvel movies. They're as close to your heart as any film could get. But I mean. I'm surprised you actually agree with this and you're not, fighting.
No, I do agree with this,
yeah.
but here's the funny thing that I came up with. I was like, he's specifically pointing out Marvel, but who does Superman fight in Man of Steel? Same purple with the same powers as him.
Kryptonian General Zod, yeah.
Yeah, same exact. That's just another Superman, a bad Superman in a way. So it's not just Marvel. This has happened a lot in comics, like.
Honestly,
comic book movies.
Would you say Batman is like the one that doesn't do this quite so often? Because you have Batman against Two-Face, Batman against the Joker, Batman against.
I think Batman's different because he doesn't really have powers, So it's kind of.
Yeah,
he's fighting other human beings. I feel like the first Batman with Jack Nicholson Joker. Even though they didn't have the same powers, they kind of mirrored each other in a way because Joker killing his parents made him Batman, and then I think Batman knocks Joker into the bath of acid or whatever, and reason why he's all deformed, and so Batman kind of created the Joker in a way, but that's really different as far as he's specifically talking about their powers and the action scenes and stuff. So, yeah, I would like to see a different, even though. I do want to see Venom in the future Spider-Man movie.
Oh yeah. But I mean, you have to have Venom. You can't. Some of these villains, Marvel can't ignore. People want to see them on the screen.
I wouldn't even mind Venom in the first movie.
Right.
Even though they probably won't. It'll probably be, who knows? Maybe Craven.
I mean, but yeah, he has a point, like Marvel.
Yeah.
Come on, step your game up. Make these fights a little more interesting and all that. So.
Yeah, just a little interesting topic I thought I'd bring up. All right, well, that's going to do it for our open mic segment, and that will do it for our podcast for this week. Thank you all for listening. As always, we really appreciate it. I'm Jacob Bartley, your host of the MTE Movie Podcast. You can find me online at Jake Ryan Bartley. Gio, where can they find you at, man?
You guys can find me on Twitter at George R. Ramos 24, Facebook George R. Ramos, and Movie Talk Express every day. Yeah,
and don't forget to check out our site, like Gio said, movietalkexpress.com. You could also find us on Facebook at Movie Talk Express, on Twitter at Movie Talk EX. And please, if you like what you hear from us, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We would really appreciate the help. And again, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next week.